Hey YouTube, Osmano and Slicer here. This will be the take two of this deck video I'm going to be doing, seeing as my mom felt it was necessary to interrupt. But as I was saying initially, was uh, the deck that I built, as far as I'm concerned, was I was the first person that built an actual deck and brought it anywhere to something like regionals, um, which at that regionals I did pretty well. I think I got trying to think here. It was probably 3-7, but that fourth round I would have won if my opponent hadn't used a Phantom of Chaos for Judgment Dragon. Just for whatever reason, I've always had the experience where I'll have a winning streak early on, and then I'll go up against one duelist, and everything will just go downhill from there. So honestly, if I had won, who knows? I could have gotten another win, and then I might have actually placed pretty well. But anyway, it's my frog deck, and yes, they did get hit with the new ban list, um, which they hit Substoad, which all you probably know. Which Substoad was the wrong card to hit, in my opinion. They should have hit Ronan Totem. The way I look at it is, we had Substoad for a year, and he wasn't really a problem. As soon as we get Ronan Totem, the problems started with the whole Match Driver, FTK, or OTK in general. That's when the problem started. Not really when Substoad was out. And people complain about how Substoad could deck thin all the way through your deck. Well, before Ronan Totem, there was no actual real practical reason to go about doing that. Trust me, I ran the deck for a year and I had never done that. There was really no usage for that. The most broken thing before Ronan Totem you could do, other than swapping out your field, was to essentially just dump certain monsters in the graveyard and then use stuff like salvage or something. But it wasn't that big of a deal. Um, so hopefully they'll rectify their mistake, in my opinion. So continuing on, we've got my three Death Frogs, which were not in the deck uh, until after, well, they were originally in the deck, then they left. Now they're back with the new ban list. They work okay, but I would have rather have just kept running the deck the way it was. I would have been happier to take out Ronan Totem than have to take out my Substoads. Continuing on, the big beat stick, Submarine Frog. May not seem like a big beat stick for some of you, but he's level 2, water, aqua, 1200, 600. He becomes a big beat stick when you have the wetlands on the field, which can be pretty nice. Another one of the cards that people view as being broken due to his mass dumping ability is the Swap Frog, which I run two of. But yet again, without Ronan Totem, what's the realistic reason to do that half the time? Next monster is not a frog, but it helps out a lot, and he becomes a nice beat stick with wetlands on the field, and he's just plain annoying, which is Penguin Soldier. Another non-frog in the deck is my Star Boys, which they give all my water monsters an additional 500 attack and reduce fire attribute monsters by 400, which that's only gone off like once or twice. And like the like the year or two I've been using this deck. Um, but with wetlands on the field, he becomes an immediate 2250 beat stick. So he's pretty nice. One I've heard complaints from some people, but people online I don't hear complaints about him from is Flip Flop Frog, which I run two of, which is the big returner of the deck, which he can be massively annoying. One of my little favorites is Unifrog, which I run two of. Unifrog in general can be pretty annoying. He becomes a 1600 direct attacker who can blow up crap in the back row on your opponent's side of the field, which is pretty nice. Next we have the Dupe Frogs, which I really enjoy in this deck. The fact that they can create a lockdown, as well as they can either search for something from the deck or add something back from the graveyard. It's pretty nice. the one that I feel that should be banned is up next is Ronan Toten, which I only run one because realistically, he's not that necessary outside of maybe one in my opinion. When you bring out a Swamp Frog, you drop one in there, he's set in there, and he's in there for emergency purposes now. Since I'm running the Des Frogs, I have the 3 tadpoles. I could probably just run 2, but by running 3 it increases my odds of actually pulling the damn thing. So, whatever. Since I'm running the Des Frogs, I've got a Des Croaking in there, as well as the fact of Duke Frog, and wasn't there another one also? Yeah, also Ronan Totem. So for all intents and purposes, there's 6 Des Frogs. Then one of the most needed cards in this deck, Level Luminary B, really restricts what your opponent can do. Lightning Vortex, staple. Mystical Space Typhoon, staple. Then in general water decks, this is a general staple, which is Salvage. One of the most broken cards as far as I'm concerned for the water monsters. After all, really no other group of monsters have something similar to that. Swords, which is a staple as far as I'm concerned. Then, as you've heard, I am running Wetlands, so I'm running the 2 Terraformings to help me get it. To help increase the overall swarming, I have the Water Hazards. Then the infamous Wetlands, which of course I run 3. Now the traps is where it gets a little interesting sometimes because of some of the stuff you can pull off. First off is my 2 Aegis of the Ocean Dragon Lord, which is one of the most broken newer cards that was given to water monsters in general, which is until the end phase of this turn, face up level 3 or lower, water monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, which is pretty damn nice as far as I'm concerned. Then we've got the Mirror Forces, the Froggy Force Fields. Pretty basic why you would run that. And then since practically everything's a low level in here, level 2 or lower, except for the Des Frogs, instead of running Call of the Haunted, I run 2 Graceful Revivals. And then for the helpful and the restricting of my opponent's attacks overall, just like the level Luminary B, I run a Gravity Bind, which helps out in just protecting my monsters so I can just further break them to where my opponent just can't do anything. So either way, that's my frog deck. Rate it, comment on it, just make sure everything's constructive. Subscribe if you want. It's all up to you guys. Either way, Osmo United Slicer signing out.